What's up, everybody? As you join the chat, just let me know, and we'll get this thing rolling. I don't really have much planned, so we'll see how this goes. What's up, Serge? I like your sunglasses. Cool dude. What's up, Casey? Just checking things. Let's get this wrapped up by Tesla launch. What time's the Tesla launch? Let's see. 8 p.m. So that's what, 11 my time. So you've got 2 hours. I don't think this is going to be 2 hours. It's never usually more than an hour, so that should be fine. Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna adjust my stream settings. If it will let me. It's saying that my keyframe intervals are out of whack or something, so I'm just gonna adjust those. Hopefully that fixes it. So it's almost 9. I'll give it about 2 more minutes, and then we can start doing whatever. It's kind of mostly going to be a Q&A this week, as I did X particles last week. And then I released the tutorial after that because the schedule got kind of mixed up. So whatever you guys want to talk about. I guess I'll bring up the Slack too, see if anyone's... Case here, Serge. You guys got any weird Redshift questions or problems or anything random? Topic ideas? Boop, put me in the corner there. All right. There we go. So, like I said, I didn't release a tutorial this week except for X particles, which we talked about last week, which we can talk about again. We can try and figure out some new stuff. A lot of people have been asking how to tie in the data tags into the materials and things like that. I gotta be honest, I'm not that great at that, but we can definitely explore that. We can also talk about trying to do some randomization, but Chad Ashley pretty much covered that in his stream about a week ago. X particles would be great. All right, let's see what we can figure out, because I am kind of interested in getting this, like, some more variation and stuff going. So real quickly, we'll just create an emitter. I have mine set up to automatically create a group. You can see the emission right there. Maybe just do a full restart of that. Boom. All right, so there we go. What's up, Nick? Dealing with depth of field. Oh, that's a great idea. Is there a way to add 3D noise to... There is not. What's up, Vitus? Man, all of a sudden you guys just like jumped in. That's crazy. So let me answer some questions before I continue. One, Jason, there isn't a real way to add 3D noise to an environment. I was just playing with this yesterday. I can kind of figure out a way to do it, but it's real hokey. It's not official yet. Depth of field, we can talk about that for sure. That's pretty easy to take care of. And then Casey wants to see some more X particle stuff. So why don't I answer the easy stuff first, and then we'll see if we can do some X particle stuff. All right, so for depth of field, I'm just going to set up a quick cloner. We'll throw in some cubes. And from there, what do you think? I guess a grid array will be best. And we'll do like 2500 NRZ. And maybe 1500 up and 1500 wide. I think we might need a little bit more for our Z. Oh, forgot a 0. All right, so there we go. So you can see I've got this camera in here already, and it's got a camera tag, and motion blur can be handled through here. You can also do it in your normal render settings. Exposure settings are in here, bokeh, distortion. So depth of field, we're gonna get through this bokeh area, but it's also controlled in the actual depth of field focus distance. So let me throw in a dome light, get this rolling. I should probably put a material on these. All right. This dome light doesn't need a background. Just an animation with the new real flow with Redshift, nothing crazy, but 150 frames rendered in an hour with a GI at 720. That probably is about right. I mean, it depends on how many cards you have going and things like that. But that sounds about right. See, it might be a little bit slow. What were you getting, like 30 seconds per frame? That sounds about 30 seconds per frame. All right, so this material is a little bit boring. Let's change it to something a little bit nicer. Do copper. Not that that's really nicer. This lighting kind of sucks too. I'll just throw in something. Doot. And that there. Yeah, 30 seconds of frames pretty average when you get into like some sim stuff or like X particles, real flow, any of that. And we can do like -2. There we go. All right, so we've got our camera. Let's say we want our focus distance to be on that cube right there. Seems good. We're gonna go ahead and turn on this bokeh enable. And just to give us something a little bit more interesting. Make sure my depth is still good. Right about there. All right. Hey, Steven. Thanks for joining us, dude. So our initial radius is just at 1, and we can start cranking this up, and we'll start seeing some depth of field happening right here in the front and in the back, and then that area will stay in focus. Go ahead and crank up the power too. So if you know anything about cameras, you can control a lot of this a lot better in your exposure settings with setting your f-stop and shutter time ratio and things like that. Mostly the f-stop number So if I bring this down, like an F8 is middle of the road sharpness, but like a 2.4 is really wide open. And you can see the scene got really bright too. And that's because it's telling the camera to let in more light, the quote unquote digital camera. So what we can do to combat that is set the ISO lower if you want. But you can also see that the depth of field got a lot stronger because of this f-stop number. So if I went down to like 1, you can see it gets really white and it starts to get blown out in here too. So you want to be realistic when you think about it. So like a 2.4, like we were saying. And then, so radius is going to be the overall radius of your bokeh going on here. Brograph, is that you, Milstead? I'm guessing that's Milstead. And then power is going to control the power. And I'll talk about that a little bit more because if you start using images down here, your power setting won't matter. It all gets controlled by the bokeh image down here. And then aspect ratio is like if you want to do like anamorphic lenses, which is like anywhere between like 4.8 and 6. So I'm just going to do 0.5. You can see our blur starts to go up and down like an anamorphic ratio. And so I'm going to bring this back in and we pretty much lose that. Bring in our power, or we can go up with our power. But most of the power is going to be controlled by this, how much of the radius you want, and then you can rein it in from there. If you're in the car, I hope you're not driving, dude. That's funny. So Nick, is this helping your question at all? So if you want to change your depth of field at all, or say you want to animate it over time. What's up, Ivan? Ivan Valentine, that's a cool name. Cool last name. Say we want to animate our depth of field. We can go back here to 1, set a keyframe, and let's make it, say, on this front one here. You can see it automatically updates really nice and quick. And then down here, we want, say, this really far back one. That's pretty much all it takes. So we've got our front. I didn't set the front one right, did I? Nope, didn't leave the keyframe. There we go. So scrub through. By the way, if you want to know a cool trick that I always forget to use, but if you hold J, you can scrub anywhere inside of your viewports. So you don't actually have to scrub on the timeline. You can just kind of scrub here. It's a really nice trick if you're trying to line up some things. So Nick, yeah, that's pretty much it. The only thing that would change that is if you start to use an image down here, it overrides the power settings. So I think RS bokeh. Where did I put it? Man, I haven't used one. Oh, there it is. So say we do this. Using this isn't going to do anything anymore. You can see it doesn't have any effect. So it's all about the radius here and how much radius you want. So if I go the other way, say if I do like 1.4, we'll start to kind of go in all directions a bit. Cool. All right, so that was easy question number 1, quote unquote easy question number 1. Let's, come on, real stream. Let me scroll up. Boop. You guys can see it snapping there. It does not want me to scroll back up. That's all right. So N-Founds8, thanks for joining us. I see you on Periscope. I see a bunch of question marks, so if you're asking what we're doing, we're pretty much just exploring depth of field with Redshift at the moment. I'm kind of just fielding questions, whatever you guys want to talk about tonight. I don't have a full plan of action for tonight since I did xparticles last week, but we'll probably start talking about that again. Since Realstream is not letting me scroll up, I know somebody else had a question besides Nick before doing xparticles again. Show me, write the question again, because I don't know why the Realstream window won't let me scroll back up. It's obnoxious. All right, I'll just let that catch back up. Wait for the questions to come back in. So that's it for depth of field. It's pretty simple. If you want to control it more than in here, the only thing that you can really do is control it with your focus distance in here. You can also set a focus object. Does displacement significantly slow down your guys' IPR performance? Not really. And then now that you said displacement, that's what it was. It was volume. Somebody asked a question about adding noise to volume. Thanks for bringing that up. So Dustin, I mean, I haven't really noticed it. Let me throw Sphere in here before I start talking about volume noise, which I have like a weird hack that kind of works for it, but not really. All right, so we'll just take this material, throw it on the Sphere there. Lighting on that looks horrendous. Let's see. Do aluminum. It's a little better, I guess. As far as displacement, displace, doot, and texture. So right now I'm just in the node editor. I'm grabbing a texture tag and a displacement tag, and I'm going to pipe this into here. Do texture map, and let's go find something. I think I'm actually going to have to go in my stock. Doot, photos. Let's say grunge. Dirt should be fine. All right, we'll put that in the displacement and put this in to displacement there, and let's see what happens. I'm gonna have to throw a tag on here to get the displacement going. It's just converting the texture at the moment. There we go. All right. So when you add the Redshift object and tessellate and displace, I go from being able to navigate around and see things in real time to wait for a few seconds. What version are you using, Dustin? Because I don't know that I've ever seen that. But let me see what happens. Turn on override. Turn on enable. There we go. And I'm rotating around pretty nicely, pretty easily. It's looking pretty good for just a quick little thing. Probably triplanar this thing. There we go, a little bit even, or more even. Yeah, Dustin, it could be just something from an older version of Redshift. So But as you can see, I'm not getting any weirdness, and then like I just accidentally duplicated that, and it's holding together pretty well. I'm not seeing anything with parameter changes, things like that. Adjust the scale on the fly pretty well. Latest version for Mac. Well, maybe that's something with the Mac version, especially if you're using like an external GPU. I wish Houdini Mark was in the chat because I know he used to be running that setup. 2.5.43. Yeah, that's what I'm running right now. I haven't gone up to 4.3 or 0.43 yet. So I don't know. Right now I've got progressive rendering on. Let me see if I turn on buckets, which I don't think I have my GI. I do have GI turned on. Okay. So I turn on buckets. I don't get any of that. You know what? So I wonder if it's GI related, but I also wonder, Dustin, if it's man, I was reading the chat and I lost my train of thought. Oh, if you're using the IPR versus render view. So you see how I have render view open? The Redshift IPR has pretty much been discontinued, as Billy is now saying in there, IPR versus RV. You should really be using the render view now. Like that's kind of been their main focus going forward. But beyond that, I can't really think of anything. I'm gonna crank these down. 128. Don't need all that. Definitely don't need 1024. We'll do 512. It's gonna be 28. Yeah, so I mean, bucket render is going to take a second to catch up, as you'll see, but I don't get any warnings at all. So if I switch to this, I mean, this is pretty smooth. Kind of looks like balls and butt cheeks put together. And then if I switch to undersampling, we'll just do this really quick. It's nice and smooth. Especially, I mean, since you're using IPR. Okay, yeah. Try switching to render view. It's worlds better. Plus you get undersampling. I don't even remember the last time I opened IPR. Let me close this so I don't freak out Redshift. Yeah, so I think you get undersampling in here. It looks like I mean they're kind of updating this still since the last time I opened it. But I prefer render view. It seems to work a lot better lately. All right, so let's hack our way into some volume noise. All right, so this may not work because I'm still trying to figure it out. So for environmental noise, we're going to need to add some contribution. We'll just do like 0.005, just something really light. I'm gonna hit play on this. All right, I might need a little bit more than that. Let's try 125. Good enough. All right, so the way that I've been kind of playing with getting some noise in the environment is by actually doing some espresso tweaking. So I just added an espresso tag. You can drag this in here, and I'm just gonna grab noise. So I haven't been able to figure out a good solution for this. I'm trying a few different ways of where to plug it in. It doesn't seem to really do much. Any way to add variance to multiple objects in Redshift textures? I think Chad Ashley just went over that in his live stream a couple weeks ago. It should be on the YouTube page by now. He talks about randomization. I I kind of understand it a little bit. He really goes into it and starts bringing in data points and things like that. I can start to explore that a little bit because somebody asked about it for X particles as well. All right, so under our redshift volume, connecting the noise, we've got all these options under volume scattering. So fog, I think emission has been the most useful, but let's say scattering. We'll just throw this in there. I immediately just start getting nothing, and I'm going to go to, say, turbulence and scale it up. So as soon as I scale it up, once I hit, I think 1.45, you can see it coming in, and then getting that there. If I bring the amplitude up, it definitely affects it. But if I pull back, I'm kind of getting a little variation, not really. So I would think scattering would affect it the most. Let's try it with general and phase. So you can see it affects the phase, but it's still doing the same thing. It's not really affecting the overall scene. It's doing just a little bit here and there. Attenuation. Kind of get it a little bit more. I think that's probably the best that we've gotten it so far. If I crank up my octaves a little bit, maybe bring my scale down, bring my scale up. Maybe I need to bring my phase back in line here. Kind of. So Dustin, you're looking at the render view option. I'm not seeing anything. Forgive me. I'm sure it's right there under my nose. So you should go into Redshift. Then you have IPR and Redshift render view, and they're going to look kind of similar, but render view is going to look like this. It will have bigger buttons, and you'll get like under view, snapshots, settings. So you can do like gamma settings and find out actual pixel settings and alpha settings, your snapshots, get other controls too, like go straight to picture viewer, things like that. You can also set it to like clay or just see your samples. I'm glad you love this channel. Thanks, dude. There's only a Redshift IPR option? I don't really know anyone on a Mac right now that's using Redshift, so I can't verify, but that sounds weird. How about if you go to Tools, Render to Render View? Do you get that? All right, let's see if we can add some weird frequency to this, or variation. It affects it, not really doing anything. All right, so yeah, see, I think it's just kind of spitting out random numbers, but it's not actually doing anything. So the next thing I tried was going into emission. Emission. Boom, ba-doot, doot, doot. Just general emission. And I need to set a color for this. We'll just say like a little bit of blue in there. All right, so you can see kind of gets a little blue in there. There's no tool option either. You're definitely on 2.5.42. Like, that sounds absurd. I don't know why I still have buckets on. I don't need my buckets on. So I started playing with this for emission and kind of getting some stuff, but not really. So we go to like a general tint. Still not really getting anything. So I know it's coming. R18. I mean, I'm in R19. That shouldn't really matter, but something seems amiss. All right. So variation between elements and randomization. All right. So we're going to go down a path I'm not an expert in at yet, but there's all these data utilities, and it lets you pull in like color user information by integers, looking up attributes. Let's pull these in and see what you can get. So I know if you're using a cloner and you want to start having some randomization, this is how you go about that. And the way that I believe this is handled is through blenders. This is definitely a good question for Chad and his live stream. I need to watch it. You can use a blender, I believe, and you plug this. Let's say this first material, you like this, and displacement. I'm not sure how you would go about that, but we'll just do this as our base color. All right. So for this, we're gonna do, I believe, Brograph index ratio. And no, it's a switch, isn't it? Is that what he used? Shader switch. Yeah, shader switch. Okay, that's what we're missing. All right, so to get some randomization, sorry about this. I'm kind of doing it on the fly. You will plug in your user data. I believe into the selector. Why can't we do it in the selector? Okay, well, you can plug your shader into here, shader 1. You have multiple shaders, and put that out. And let's make this just plastic. I'll make another one of these. This will be shader 2. So you'll see once I start using this selector, go up to 1. Now they both become plastic. Both that. I believe I should be able to plug this in. I don't know why it's not letting me go into selector. How about this? Let me use an integer. There we go. All right. My wife is popping up on Facebook with something. All right, object ID. That's not it. Objects, object ID. That should be the one that I want. Yeah, man, post on the forum, or there's a decently active Redshift Slack group. It's kind of active, but some of the actual Redshift guys are in there. So that might be a good idea. Let's try geometry ID. I don't want to. So what should be happening? And I'm so sorry that I'm just like doing this by the seat of my pants, but it should be grabbing this data information and piping it into here. Let's see if I do Alt ID. Nope. All right. Let's do other data. Scalar shouldn't be it at all, but we'll try it. Oh, I guess it is scalar. Okay. It shouldn't be that one, and it is that one. That's how it works. All right. So here's how you get randomization, everybody. Yay. Demo. That, I wonder... Oh, no, this is somebody else answering. All right. So, Jason, you're on a Mac, and do you have all the same menu options that I have? So like the render view and tools render the viewport and things like that. All right, so we're making progress here on randomization. Cool. Let's make another sphere. And this one, I guess it's going to use the very bottom one, so we'll need another material. That's fine. Copy this. Shader 2. And I'll slide that up there. Cool. Let's call this one copper. Interesting. If I do 3, it shouldn't be going off the name. It should be going off the actual objects. Why? Reload that too. Nope, no tools, don't see RV. Huh. I wonder if the Mac version's behind. That's crazy to me. That, you guys should definitely bring that up in the forums. That doesn't seem right. How's it that I got this to work before? Why was it doesn't like more than 2 balls? Too many balls? All right, so we're starting to get a little randomization. I'm not sure why this isn't changing at all. So if I put this in the 1, that goes to glass. Back to plastic. Yeah, software on post in August, so they said it's not in OS 10 yet. Man, I wonder if that's like a High Sierra issue of some sort, because I keep hearing all this crap about High Sierra. Makes me think that might be it. All right, guys. So, all right, scalar might be what we want to use for X particles too. Look at this: particles, age, life, age normalized, spin speed, density. So this is for thinking particles, and XP. Oh, we might have to try some stuff. That's crazy that we'll pull in fuel and fire and smoke here. Huh. Interesting. All right. I want to know why it's not giving me more. So that's index ratio. Object normalized. But why? You're just working. Oh, so is it different every time So it looks like every time I reload the viewport, it gives me something different. That is not what we want. That would be really bad and terrible for production. All right. Graph size and spin axis velocity. So here's a bunch more particle information. Not going to help us. Let me bring in my color one more time, just see if it will let me go to selector. No. So it's got to be scalar. Right in there. The Redshift one is... It might be invite only. If you shoot me an email, Liam at 5, spelled out FIVE -31.com, I'll invite you in. I forgot about that it might be invite only. But you can join the Brograph one. if you're not already in there, just go to brograph.com/Slack. Oh man, I want this to work so badly because we were getting somewhere and now we're not. I don't understand why it has to do anything with that. All right. We're getting somewhere with all of this, but not completely there yet. Are there any other switches? Ray switch? Does it have to be a ray switch? I don't think. Yeah, there's not enough. That's not how it was done. All right. Well, we're getting somewhere. You know what? Next week, I will research this more, and not to like completely rip off Grayscale Gorilla, but I'll figure out how to do a project with some randomization for you guys. All right. So while we're in here, let's do a little xparticles thing, because I was asked how to use some of that data. Yeah, Dustin, shoot me an email, because I think the Redshift Slack is invite only. Like, you have to know someone to get into it. I don't think they have a website to go to, but Brograph has one where you can come hang out and ask questions and stuff, and that's brograph.com/Slack. So you can at least come in there and ask us questions, and maybe I can get an answer for you about what's going on with the Mac side of things. All right, create emitter. Cool. That's great. All right, so we've got this set up. I want to see what we can pull in. So we're going to add a Redshift tag to this. Just do an object. Under particles, we've got point instances or sphere instances. I'm going to do spheres, and we'll throw this here. And I'm going to bring our scale up a bit, say 3. And maybe 2 for variation. Let this run one more time. Isn't that how I did it before? Yeah, I thought it was. Maybe I just don't have. Yeah, there's some variety in there. Okay, that's all right. All right, let's see if we can get some data for this. You are welcome, Dustin. All right, so in here we've got particles, age, distance, size. Let's see if we add size in here, if it starts changing what material is used. It's doing that rotate thing. Billy, if you're still watching, dude, if you know exactly what step I'm missing in this craziness, let me know, because it seems like it's right at my fingertips and I'm just missing it. What is state? I guess that's change states. Shader switch is what we're using. User data, man. I know it's like right there. It's gotta be something happening with the switch. Maybe, do I need to turn all these down? Is that what's screwing it up? It's where the alpha gets locked in these two. I wonder, maybe shader, they mean piping textures into that and not materials. Let's try that. All right. We're going to go here, diffuse color. And I just learned this, that there's a connect to output thing there. I've never opened this tools panel before. Let's see. So for this, all right, we've got some balls. They're shiny. Let's do plastic. And I'm going to make this one pink, this one blue, maybe orange. So my scale must not be changing that much. Oh, but that just changed it. Okay. So if I go to 3, I should get some orange in there at some point, maybe. All right. X ratio is not doing anything. That's not doing anything. All right, let me try and adjust my size a little bit more. I didn't think it read it off the radius, but do it one more time. Maybe it does read it off the radius. Okay. I really thought it was scale. Shows how tired I am tonight. So we'll do a 3 and like a 1.5. Reset it. See if we can start getting some. Oh yeah. All right, so we're doing it, guys. We're doing it. So we got white in there, orange. I don't know where the white's coming from. I probably didn't turn them all off. Yep. Default shader color. That's probably why. All right. So we're doing something right. Now, let's bring this back down. It seems like I should have enough variation in here to get some of the other colors too. What's up, Kira? Thank you for joining us. You're on Twitch. You are the only person on Twitch who has commented tonight. Thanks for watching on Twitch. All right, so, hey, Mark. Did you say hi earlier, dude? I definitely recognize your name from comments. I feel like I would have seen you in the chat. So, yeah, Kira, most everybody's on YouTube. So that's awesome. Thanks for joining on Twitch. That is cool to hear. All right, so I want to see how we can get this down a little bit. I'm going to do like 1.5 here. Let this. All right, so it is definitely going based on radius now. And I guess I'm going up too high, so maybe 1 in variation. Kind of sucks I have to replay it each time. All right, so I need to set another color. We'll do 2 again. For this one, shader 3, why don't we do green? Let play through again. We should get some green in there. Oh yeah. All right. This is sweet. Cool. I'm feeling happy about this now. We're at 9:45 already, man. All right, cool. So we're getting variation, and it's based on size. So I'm gonna name this one. Yes, size. Thank you. Cool. What else can we do? Looks like the rest of these have to do with age and life and whatever. So let's do age. So the youngest one is pink. We're gonna have to let this play, I guess. Cool. All right, we'll start this over. This is pretty primitive, it looks like, because it definitely has like some hard splits. but that's how we get it through age. Distance traveled. Sure. I don't know how that... Oh, whoa, it's like, it's inverted. All right. Throw an invert on here, because that's not right. Oh, that's still inverted. Weird. I don't know. Oh, it's because it didn't connect. Let's try one more time. Sure, man. It is. I'm just going to do it character by character. LIAM @ F as in Frank, I as in igloo, V as in Victor, E as in Edward. So the word 5, hyphen, like a dash, 31, so numeral 31.com. No, let me, here, I'll just bring up OBS and really quickly, you guys can. There we go. Hopefully that's showing up. So, I know that's ridiculous, but there you go. Turn that off now. I hope that was up long enough for you, Dustin. If not, I'll put it in the comments right after, or like the description right after. All right, so for some reason, for distance traveled, it's like an immediate disruptor for some reason. That's okay. Yeah, I should have mentioned that more clearly. Cool. As soon as the stream's over, I will invite you. I'll add you to both Brograph and Redshift. If anyone else wants to get in Redshift too, just let me know. Shoot me an email. What else can we do? So, you know, Vector seemed to have other stuff. Let's see what we can do with Vector. And then also color, data. I'm going to bring these all back in and see. So integer had random seed, which is from thinking particles or group ID. So it seems like depending on what group it's in or general ID. So I mean, it will definitely be random for each one. Let's see. Please connect. God, I cannot wait for them to update Espresso. All right. Doesn't seem like each one gets anything. That's okay. How about object ID? No, that's kind of just pulling number 1. Group ID. I wonder if it's pulling this information there. No. All right, so cool. That's good enough for me for that one. All right, color data. Oh, so we can put it into here. Particles, particle color. Cool. Damn it, I don't have XP and I waste all my money on GPUs. That's all right. It's good to be able to render fast. But Kira, you have any questions? Because I've just kind of been fielding questions tonight. I didn't have any plan for this tonight. We've done a bunch of random stuff. But this is kind of cool that it is pulling from here. And as I change it, so I could probably... yeah, here we go. We're getting somewhere. We're doing it. Sweet. All right, look at that. Speed up our emissions a little bit. All right, so, newbie question on Redshift. My scene has a dome light, HDRI, and an infinite light. I want to control the infinite light intensity, but change has no effect. It's because an infinite light is treated like a sun. So let me throw one in this scene. Infinite light, there we go. So you'll see wait, it has light intensity foot change. Sorry, I was thinking about, do you mean fall off or intensity? Because I was thinking you meant fall off. There's no decay control for like fall off here, but intensity you should be able to control. Because I have an HDRI going too, and I'm cranking this up, and it's making a difference. So I'm going to put this back at 0. Well, man, if you, or I shouldn't say man, because Kira could be man or woman. Kira, if you are stuck rendering, you should definitely check out Pixel Plow, which I have right here, because they have Redshift for, it's already running. They have a Redshift farm, too, for GPU rendering, so if you're finding that your if you're finding that your renders are very slow, you can send them to Pixel Plow and get them extremely quickly. I wish I was an affiliate and getting paid for this. I am not, but they do such awesome work that you should definitely check them out. Everyone should check them out. Doesn't matter what render engine you're using outside of like Octane, they pretty much support it. I'm pretty certain they even support V-Ray. They're pretty awesome. But that's cool that you're hanging out with us. You should join the Redshift, or not Redshift Slack, the Brograph Slack, and hang out. Then you'll always have company. You don't have to wait for a live stream. All right, so this is working pretty cool for getting some randomization, and it's not even pulling in these colors anymore. It's just pulling in the color data here. So that's cool. What else can we get? Just particle color out of color data. All right, that's fine. Vector, let's see what we get for vector. So particles, spin axis. These are a lot of thinking particle ones. Velocity. So based on velocity, will it change its color? Should probably all be one color since... Yeah. But let me pull back. All right, so how can we use that? Guess we'd have to do randomization of our speed. So put some here. Some are gonna be really slow, some will be fast. Doesn't look like it's making a big difference though. That's okay. Mr. Plow is awesome. Senor Plow. UV spin. I don't have any spin going. Alignment. That's thinking particles and UV. All right, so we kind of figured out some X particle stuff. If you want complete randomization, you use a user data tag with it plugged into a shader, and that needs to be set to particle color. I'll just hit play. So that's way 1. If you want to do it by size, it's gonna overrule that. This is now set to distance traveled, which we don't want. We can do size. It will start pulling from the shaders. And now makes me wonder about putting materials back into it. I don't think that's going to work, but let's try it. Yeah, full on pink. Put that into there. Okay, we've got our plastic one. Shader 2. We're going to go down to aluminum. And shader 3. Do another one. Make this. I'll do another plastic. Red. Let me rewind this and play it again. So that's interesting. We're getting some stuff coming through, some stuff not. I think it's picking up this one too, which I don't want anymore. Even though I've turned down the alpha, it's still picking up. All right. And here, do I have any red balls? Nope. So it's definitely not going to use a material. So that's disappointing. I was really hoping we had cracked the shell on using different materials, but that means you can use different textures. No, you don't look dumb, dude. You know, sometimes that just happens. Sometimes it's just a scene file or something gets cached in memory somewhere and it gets all screwed up. So, no worries, man. So, cool. We got some particle randomization, which is really cool. Except it's not feeding through at the moment. Why? Whatever. That's all right. All right. Last questions. What else does anyone want to know? Which one is this? This is, I want the color one back. Do I have to pipe it right into the surface? Is that what's happening? I guess so. Okay, weird. But that's cool that we figured that out. Now we just got to figure out how to get even more randomization. Merc got to use expressor tags with Redshift. Yeah, you can use regular expressor tags. If you click on this up here or this up here, you can bring in a bunch of stuff. It doesn't really matter where you bring it from, but like RS file. I will put it right here. Which we don't need this. There, remove. No, not rename. Remove. There we go. But you can put a bunch of ports over here on the side if you want to, just like you can with regular espresso. So like if you wanted to use a gradient, or you can go into a new node espresso and just bring in normal espresso into here, because this is espresso. But even like here's XP data, I don't think this actually reads correctly. From my understanding, you still have to use like the color data stuff. But let's see. Yeah, so like here's how you can bring in C4D shader, like basic one, set out additional outputs. Redshift shader, what does that do? Why would you just bring in a blink shader? That doesn't make sense. That's silly that that's in there. But let's say you wanted to do like complete random seed of something. You could do it with this, and we'll say like an integer selector right there. If I turn that off, so a random seed is just free, positive only. I don't know if that's actually going to work based on me choosing integer, but yeah, you can use any kind of espresso. Rick's definitely crazy though. He's figured out everything with everything. What's in here? So this is like index data from Brograph. So yeah, although the developers said it wasn't supposed to work. Well, I know some things don't work, so like I don't have any trails going right now. Get particle data. Let me bring in this emitter here. I don't think I'm really going to be able to get much out of this. Yeah. So this is to set particle data, not actually get information from it. Bitmap, huh? Interesting. Yeah, we can talk. It's already 5 after 10, but we can talk really quickly about noise. That's fine. I shouldn't have deleted that dome light. Leave that in there. So I kind of covered this in my first tutorial, but some things have changed a little bit, and I've realized that there's better ways to go about stuff. So let me make a plane. Focus on that. Make a cube with a sphere. Put the sphere on top. All right. Cube, it doesn't need to be that tall. Just to get something going. All right, I'm gonna do a quick, let's see, on the base, keep that plastic, and we'll do that for the cube too. I'm just duplicating these in case I do want to change them at some point. I'll call this glass. All right. So glass can get noisy. So that's why I'm going to make this one glass. And create a new setting here, completely new. All right, so these are all default settings coming into Redshift. I'm going to turn on my bucket rendering. So you can see there's some noise in here. I'm going to stretch out this plane too. I'm just going to group this, make another one. Didn't mean to do the plane. There we go. Do this too. Let's make this really big. Just get some stuff going to try and get some noise. All right. So you can see in here that we're getting noise and a little bit in the glass too. Oh man, Mercat collision and distant nodes to work. That's awesome. So go to adjustments. First off, in the render view, which I think, Vitus, you said you're on Mac. Well, if you're not on Mac, or you have a viewport or render view, sorry, you can go in this little circle here and do samples. So you kind of want it to be as black and white as possible, or like smooth gray as possible. So all these areas in here, they're just smooth gray. And you can use this to start adjusting your settings. So I like to keep my minimum set to about 32 now. Really, I should have adjusted this first. 32. There we go. You want to do like computer numbers or doubling, so you can do 64. So we'll bring 64 in, and you'll see we start to get some smoothing and clarity in there. But it's all that white, even though it looks like it's actually cleaning up the noise, it's not. It's just adding samples to those areas. So unified sampling, you can start cranking up your min and max, but really adjusting your lights per light source is the best way to do it. So right now I only have 64 samples. Let's go up to 256. Let's just crank it up there. You'll see it cleans up most of the noise right away. So I'm gonna set it back down to 16. What's up, HP? All right, so Vitus, you've got a PC with render view, so you can definitely do this. All right, so if you switch it to samples, you see it's gray, a little bit of gray in there, and mostly white all over. If I bring this back up to 256, you'll see we start to get gray. So this gray is good. That means it's killing the noise. That means it should be a noiseless area. If we go up to 512, you'll see it gets even clearer. And then when I switch back to the actual view, you'll see it's mostly noiseless except for like these really tight areas in here, the shadow areas. And so if you start to notice, okay, it's mostly my shadows, you can come into sampling overrides, and really that's probably going to be covered with ambient occlusion just fine. So before I turn on override samples, so ambient occlusion, you can think of it as if you have your hand pressed on a table. Let me bring up OBS so I can see what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to switch to my main view. So ambient occlusions, imagine this is a table. You put your hand on it. You would think that there is no light under there, but if you look really closely, you get those like shadows. Let's see, shadows. Just like right in here, we get that shadow in there. And so the way you imagine it is that, like, even in the darkest of darkest scenarios, ambient occlusion is still going to cause some shadowing and graying from lights. At least that's how I've come to understand it. So samples, right now it's set at 8. Why don't we try like 128? And I have a feeling it will start to clean this up here. I might have to resend the scene. Let's see. If not, I mean, we can keep cranking up the samples on our light. Try 1024. I was really thinking that would be covered by ambient occlusion, not because you can't do shadows in here. That's all right. We'll crank this up to 1024. You'll see it gets cleaned up even more. So really it's going to be like nitpicky areas in the corners here and around here. Yeah, so all right, so if you've ever messed with, say, Octane, you would just crank your, let me see, Octane settings. So you would just usually crank your samples, and that gives you the best. Like, you can adjust samples in Octane through lights, but usually you hear people cranking up samples here, max samples. While in Redshift, you want to really focus on your materials and your light. So we did all this to the light. Let's go ahead and bring it back down to like 256. And, you know, it's not killing the times by any means. Maybe even 128. I still want to get some noise in there. All right, so both of these, I'm going to change this out. So I already should not have made the plastic separate. All right. So in the plastic, you'll see under reflection and refraction and all that, you get samples. So in here, we only have 16 samples. So if you see that you're turning up your lights and, you know, we're back to white, and you're only getting so far, then you can start adding samples to, say, your reflection, because plastic's going to have some reflection. So why don't we do 64 for that? And you'll start to see a little bit of cleanup probably in these areas. But overall, it's going to be mostly our light. So I'm going to go back in and adjust our light again, and we'll do 512. So like in here, these white areas are probably the actual material of glass. But since we're going to focus on the floor for a second, let's do 1024. All right, so you see with 1024, all these like close occlusion areas, or what I was calling occlusion areas, really get taken care of. So we'll go back into the regular. And so in here, I'm going to just put this back down to, say, 16 and maybe even 32 for here. I bet we're still going to get a clean image, because the way Redshift thinks about things is it is only going to focus on the areas that need the most. Oh, man. Thanks, Mark. Sorry. Totally just pulled a Great Skill Gorilla stream moment. So the way it's going to focus on these, let me roll back for a second. I'm going to put this back to 128. All right, so dome light gives us quite a bit of wiggle room. So we'll go back up to, 512. And then where I was getting these other details in here was when I put my samples up to 256. I start to clean up some of these tighter areas, like right along the edges here. At least I thought it had cleaned it up. Maybe I was only just doing it in my light and I was wrong. All right, so 512, and we'll just say 1024. We'll round back up to that that seems to clean it up pretty well. All right, so we're getting a really clean image here now. And I'm going to go ahead and crank these up to 64. See if that adjusts the edges around here at all. And we'll do 64 for refraction. It's not really doing much anymore. I could probably add some more samples to the light, but you can see minimum samples is set to 16 and 32. I bet I could go all the way back down to 4 with this. And we're going to get a pretty decent clean image. Like, it's dark because it's only focusing on the areas it needs to because it's adaptive. But if we look, it's pretty damn clean. And then if I bring up the minimum again to 8, we get just a little bit nicer image, but it's not that much difference. And so we're getting a 7-second render for glass, and glass is always really hard to pull off. So if you're looking to speed up your renders, definitely lights are going to be it. Switch to samples, see what's causing it. And then, once you get to 1024, like 1K, 2K, and if it's still not giving you a pretty picture with your lights, then start messing with, your unified sampling and all that. Other things I can add into it are global illumination. You see, as soon as I turn that on, we start getting noise. Starts to get noise again. Global illumination's really going to be affected by your overall min and max. So I can pump in a bunch of rays here. If I go up to 1024, it cleans it up. I guess I've always been told that the number of rays for GI doesn't necessarily clean up the scene. However, that just cleaned it up pretty well. So I need to read into that more. I did not expect it to clean that up. I thought it was just gonna kind of bounce it around more. But so 8 and 32, if you're working with global illumination, bring up those rays, and then this too. Yeah, Billy, still going a little bit. I'm going to wrap it up here in just a minute. I got asked a question about noise at the very end and talking about how to clean up noise and read samples. So, that said, as Billy just asked, I am still going. All right, so thank you everybody that's come out tonight. I appreciate it. We definitely went over a little bit. If you have any questions, definitely email brograph@brograph.com. Depending on where you're watching the stream, leave comments below. It's being streamed to Twitch, Periscope, my personal YouTube channel, the Brograph channel, and Brograph Facebook page as well. So lots of places to leave comments. I'm pretty diligent about answering comments, especially on my own. I still hop over to the Brograph one and check there too. But if you don't hear back on a comment, email me, Liam, Liam, at 5FIVE-31, so 531.com. I can be found on Twitter at _531, no hyphen. Brograph is at Brograph for Twitter. Definitely come hang out with us on the new Slack too. It's been awesome talking to the community in there. You can get into that Slack for free. No questions asked. You just go to brograph.com/Slack and put in your information and join. And, we have a good time. We talk about a bunch of random stuff. So, if you guys have any tutorial topics or things that you'd like me to cover more of, besides AOV, because they're still working on that. I couldn't even render out AOVs last week with one of the updates. So that tutorial is just going to be put on hold. That's like the only thing I can't do. But everything else I will look into and do it for you. Next week, I'm going to try and do like emissions from a cell phone type tutorial. And that will be out on Tuesday. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all this interaction, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good night.